Hi, today I'm going to talk about how you can teach less while your students are learning more. Hi, my name is Jeanette Stein. I'm the creator of highschoolmathteachers.com, and I am just really excited to be here and start this Facebook Live series that we're going to start. So, my name is Jeanette Stein. I was a high school math teacher for 17 years, and I have just a heart to help the kids understand things in a way that they're going to retain it and really enjoy it. And so I have a question for you today. I would love for you just to get some engagement and see, this is new for me, and so I'm really excited to be here. But I would love for you just to maybe like and share the video if you think that'll help some folks that you work with, and also just put a comment below. I would love to know when you go back to school. I know some of the people that I work with, some of the teachers, they are already headed back to school. They started yesterday. I would love to know when you head back to school. I'm kind of hiding out here while my kids are at camp up here in Michigan. We don't go back to school for the most part till after Labor Day. So welcome. I see that there are some people watching. This is kind of a first for me. And I came up to the school. This is kind of a funny little side note, but I came up to the school where my kids are doing summer camp because they're not done till 2:30. And I thought it would be so nice and quiet because I live on a busy road. And I don't know if you can hear behind me, but there are chainsaws. I can't believe this. But today what we're going to talk about, in case you're just joining us, we're going to talk about how to teach less so your kids can actually learn more and make those connections they need to help with the retention. So what I would like to talk about is if you have ever had students say, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you're giving us another problem." You're teaching a concept and all you've done is kind of change the problem around. I think of solving linear equations and you move things to one side of the equation or the other, and then the kids see it as a whole new problem. They're seeing it as like you're teaching them a whole nother concept. Or you're teaching slope and graphing quadratics and you add a new intercept and everything just gets thrown off. If that's your students, if they are not putting the connections, if they feel like you are teaching, as you give them examples, if you are teaching them like totally different things, you think about sitting, I know we've all been through PD as teachers, unless you're a first year teacher and you've got this coming, there are some great professional development opportunities as a teacher, and then there's some where like they're jumping all over and you're like, okay, exactly where's this guy going? And then other people actually connect it together and it's awesome. And so what we need to do is help our students to connect it. So what is happening is as social media grows, as Facebook grows, we are seeing that kids are having a really hard time making connections, and they don't see where things are connected together, and they really need our help to do this. So I just want to welcome people who have joined here. Larissa, so good to see your name pop up here. Nice to see a familiar face. Another Michigander, another Michigan teacher, so I love that. So as we talk about kids who don't make those connections, there's a couple things that we can do to really help with the connections. And so the first thing I always think of, one day I had one of those classes where people were they were feeling like I was teaching them 8 different things and it was all the same thing. They just weren't connecting it. So after, a couple of examples, I said, well, why do you think this is all taught in the same day? And I waited for them to respond, and I waited for them to think that through. They were able to come up, once they had that time and they had that question, they were actually able to put together why those things were taught together and how they connected. And because I took the time to do that, they were able to really see how everything was joined and not feel like they were learning everything from scratch. So what I started to do is I would teach the one concept really well. So they would, if they were finding it a little difficult, I might teach that quadratic formula. Okay, so let's say we're talking about the intercepts there, and there's zeros, and we're finding zeros. I might teach that concept very, very well. Like with the same type of problem. I know that those students can really do it on their own. And then I'll put a problem that's similar to it. Maybe they have to set it equal to 0 first. And I'll say, well, what if the problem looks like this? How do we do it? How does it look like the other ones? And I'll let them see that connection because they've put that connection together, and I just haven't put it up there and said, well, when it looks like this, we do this. I force them to make the connections. They retain it longer. They then are looking for those connections as we go through the rest of the examples. And so even students who don't see it right away, because you will have students that see it right away and then students that don't see it right away. That's just the nature of their background and what confidence level they're at yet. But when they say it out loud and other kids see it and explain it, you're really going to see that they're going to start making those connections, which will help the retention. It really does help them to understand so much more and to put those connections together. We just have to remember, I just read an awesome book called Deep Work. I'll have to look up the author for you. I believe it's Cal Newport. Phenomenal book with a ton of research. It was just phenomenal. So I'm going to be doing some more Facebook Lives talking about some of that. But he also talks about the connections. Kids are not able to make connections. And he had some great research on that from kids looking through like Facebook posts. And they are, they see one piece of data and one piece of data and one piece of data. And their brain is so trained that they don't connect, that their brains are no longer making those connections automatically. So when we can help them, we increase the retention, we increase their understanding, we decrease their frustration because they're not feeling like they're learning 5, 6 different things. They're seeing how they all connect. And it's just been really cool to see my students see those connections. And as they do that, they realize they're not learning all new things where they get overwhelmed, but that it's all connected. So I am just really excited that I got a chance to come on here today. Thank you so much for the likes and the hearts. I see those going through the screen. It just really makes me feel pretty good about this first one. And I'll see about getting a tripod out here. I can tell my arm's getting a little shaky, but I would love to see what you guys do for this. And I can hear the people doing the lawn right behind me, so I'm gonna cut off. But right above, if you'd like to learn some more about the research that I've been learning about, there is a link right above me that I put in the description that'll allow you to come to a live webinar. That'll be Thursday or Friday. I'd love to see you there. Bye now.